What's up guys, it's Adam FPL again, and today's video consists of my most likely final, Game Week 1 team draft. The Premier League season is finally upon us and I couldn't be more excited. With the first game kicking off this Saturday, I'm recording this pretty late in the week, but it is what it is, and I hope my video can still help you guys sort out your teams. My picks are mostly locked in with some few minor last minute tinkering possible that I will mention when I talk about the players later in the video. A lot of thought has gone into my FPL team this season as I am looking to avoid a slow start like last year. Last year I didn't know much about FPL and chose some players that hurt me in the long term. This year's team structure though has been selected based on flexibility at various price points, fixtures, and balance all over the field. I think I will end up going with a 4-4-2 as it is statistically proven to be the safest formation to start with for the season. Flexibility will be the biggest key this FPL season because of the uncertainties due to the COVID-19 virus. If you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell as I will likely have weekly FPL videos on my team. Also, if you want to have some fun and compete against us in a mini league this season, this is another reminder to join Mine and Blues FPL's league in Frank We Trust if you haven't already. The league code can also be found in the description below. Without further ado, let's have a look at my team for the first game week. Now, first up, my goalies. So my starting goalkeeper slot has actually been a subject of much thought for me recently, and over the past few weeks I've been rotating between McCarthy and Ryan, and now Ramsdale of Sheffield United. So obviously I know in my previous Game Week 1 video I talked about my price point opinions and how I think the best way to go for goalies is one 4.5 million and one 4 million goalkeeper. But I guess with so much time to tinker with our FPL teams, my thoughts have kind of changed. So with Ramsdale, he moved to Sheffield United from Bournemouth this transfer window, and Sheffield United had a solid defense last year. Sheffield have pretty nice fixtures to start, with Wolves, Aston Villa, Leeds, Arsenal, and Fulham in the first 5 game weeks, and I think Ramsdale has clean sheet potential in some of those games. The Sheffield defense also concedes lots of shots as seen by Dean Henderson's stats last year. While Ramsdale is not on Henderson's level quite yet, I still expect him to be making a ton of those saves this year. Ramsdale is a good set and forget keeper that I hopefully won't need to worry much about for a while until I wildcard. With my backup goalkeeper, I've gone with David Button. He's 4 million and a seemingly popular pick for the bench spot in past years. He recently moved to West Brom, so the thinking behind this pick is that if West Brom start poorly and concede goals, Button could get a go at the starting spot for West Brom instead of Johnstone if he was performing badly. My main goal and thought process behind which 4 million goalie to pick was solely based on who has the best chance of playing and isn't very highly owned. Button's ownership is currently at 5.3%. Now onto my defense, and first up we have Tariq Lamptey of Brighton. So at 4.5 million, he offers great value if he continues to start. Last season, after restart, he started every single game at either right back or right mid, and provided great minutes under Graham Potter. If Potter continues to trust him and Lamptey continues to crack the starting 11 this season, he can be great value and offer lots of attacking returns. So recently, he got called up for the England U21 national team for the UEFA Nations League fixtures, and has shown that he is improving and has a lot of potential going forward. Next up, we have Charlie Taylor, another 4.5 million defender of Burnley. He is the main left back at Burnley and basically has his role nailed down there. He doesn't offer much offensive potential, but based on last year, Burnley kept 15 clean sheets, and if they can replicate a solid defense like that this year, then Taylor is a great pick and a cheap way into the Burnley defense. On to James Justin of Leicester City. So he has been in and out of my team for a while now, and he is currently in the side. He offers good value at 4.5 million, and with Ricardo Pereira being rumored out to around October, which is like the 3rd or 4th game week, Justin can potentially offer some good value for these first few game weeks. Leicester have good fixtures at the beginning, starting off with West Brom, and they have a lot of creative players like Madison, Vardy, and Barnes. So even with the signing of Castagne from Atalanta, who can play left back or right back, I still think that Justin will play because of the injury of Pereira and the other injuries in Leicester's defense. There are some clean sheet points and potential offensive returns at a cheap price there. Now, on to the most obvious choice in my defense, Trent Alexander-Arnold. So, I don't really need to talk much about him. He has been in my team since the very beginning, and with 210 points last year, I don't really think I can go without him. His price is 7.5 million, which is a great price, and if he underperforms, I can always go to Andy Robertson, although that will probably be unlikely because it doesn't make much sense, but who knows. Anyways, Trent will probably be in my team because he has amazing attacking returns, and Liverpool can keep clean sheets in the defense as they have been shown to be a fixture-proof team. My last defender choice is Kyle Walker-Peters of Southampton. So I wanted a Southampton defender if I didn't go McCarthy, then Kyle Walker-Peters was the one I would go with. He offers some attacking potential at that right back spot, and he's pretty nailed down as he has shown that he looks to be the first choice under Hasenhüttl. On to the midfielders, we first have Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He is a lock in my team since the game came out. Arsenal are improving steadily under Arteta, and he has a great price point at $12 million. You can always switch to a Man City midfielder or Bruno Fernandes when Arsenal have that Liverpool fixture. He is a potential Gameweek 1 captaincy option with his recent form. He looked great in the Community Shield against Liverpool and has seemingly an easy fixture against a newly promoted side in Fulham. I've been debating between him or Salah for a while now for the captaincy, and it will basically come down to the wire. Next, we have Bissouma, who is my 4.5 million midfielder of Brighton. He has the best chance of playing and returning on offense, and he is quite a forward-thinking player when he cracks the lineup. My 4.5 million midfielder video goes more in depth on him and why he is one of the better picks at this price. My third midfield slot goes to Mo Salah. The FPL king, Salah has been a mainstay in my team for a while now. The Liverpool man is Mr. Reliable when it comes to FPL, and it will take something substantial for him to be taken out of my team. His selfish playstyle, big goal threat, and winger spot in a very attacking team is very suitable. Also, his price point is another great one at $12 million because you can go for any mid from him. One knock on him though is that he hasn't been on banging form in preseason, but how much of that will translate into the actual season we don't know. I think it's best not to risk not having him. Now, he could potentially be switched to Mane last minute because of the rumor that many managers will go Salah to Bruno after Game Week 1, and Salah could see a price drop, which I want to avoid. This was one of the tinkering options I was talking about at the beginning of the video, but for now I have Salah. We'll see what happens. My next midfielder is Alan St-Maximin of Newcastle. He is the most attack-minded player at Newcastle, and a lot of their chances last year flowed through him. He is probably the best of the 5 million, 7 million price bracket midfielder here, with the options being pretty dodgy overall. Good news is Newcastle just made a few nice signings to give St. Max some support. They signed Callum Wilson of Bournemouth, who's finally a striker better than Joe Linton, who can consistently put away chances. Signed Ryan Fraser, another talented winger, and Jamal Lewis, a young left back with good all-around potential, and all these signings can support the team in a good way. St. Maximin will probably slot in at right wing or cam most likely, and he offers good value at this price. My last midfielder choice is Chelsea new boy Kai Havertz. Signed for £71 million, the talented youngster has been very impressive in training according to reports through Chelsea Insider articles and Lampard press conferences. With Chelsea having a multitude of injuries for the beginning of the season, including the midfield and attack areas, Havertz is likely to start against Brighton from the get-go. Some may say he only has a week of training with Chelsea under his belt, but that shouldn't be a big problem since he looks match fit already with his inclusion in the German national team for UEFA Nations League games. He has a great price point at $8.5 million because you can always make an easy switch to another Chelsea midfielder, Mason Greenwood, Harvey Barnes, etc. He also has a pretty low ownership as of right now, and if he starts the season off with a bang, his value will rise exponentially. This is one of my tinkering options here though, with that being said, because I could potentially downgrade Kai here to Barnes and go for Mitrovic as a third striker, but that is still very much in the air. Now with my strikers, we first have Vasilov of Aston Villa. I went with him because at $4.5 million, he is a budget option, and I mostly considered him because of team value. He's the lowest owned striker at this price, so he likely won't see a price drop. Next, we have my second striker, Timo Werner, another one of Chelsea's new signings. The German looks to be a great pick for this season. He is expected to be one of Chelsea's main men and get on the end of many goals that their exciting offense will look to create. He had amazing stats last season with 34 goals and 13 assists in all competitions. He's at a great price point at $9.5 million and can switch to most other premium striker options if he doesn't perform. With that being said, he's been in most people's teams that I've seen, and his ownership is very high. I think he's the second most owned player in the game. So that shows that he is a pretty popular pick and that he offers great value this season. My last but certainly not least striker in this team is Danny Ings. The Englishman is a talisman for Southampton, scoring 22 goals last season. Most of the time, when Southampton score goals, Danny Ings is somehow involved. He is also potentially on penalties, with Ward-Prowse being his main competition, and he will also play almost the whole game week in and week out, not being at risk of an early sub, like Shea Adams, for example. Danny Ings also has a great fixture against Crystal Palace in Game Week 1, and at $8.5 million, you can always switch to Jimenez or Dominic Calvert-Lewin or even Martial if you have that extra $0.5 million if Ings doesn't perform well. That's going to wrap up this Game Week 1 final team reveal video. Please consider liking and subscribing as it is greatly appreciated. And if you have any thoughts or questions about my team and how I can improve, or if you want me to have a look at your team, make sure to comment down below and I'll be happy to respond. Once again, it's Adam FPL, and see you in the next video.